Emma was 15 minutes late. She'd stopped for milk and forgotten to text her husband Daniel. When she opened the front door, the house was dark and still, like no one had moved through it in an hour. Daniel was sitting on the couch, not watching TV, not reading, just sitting, hands folded so tightly his knuckles had gone pale. When he saw her, he let out a breath he'd clearly been holding. "I thought you weren't coming back," he whispered. She hugged him. "I'm sorry, I just stopped at the store." He nodded against her shoulder, but her words hadn't reached the part of him that was afraid. They'd landed somewhere else entirely, some room in him she didn't have a key to yet. From the outside, it looked like a wife comforting her husband over a small mix-up. It wasn't. What was sitting on that couch wasn't a 37-year-old man. It was a frightened 7-year-old boy who still believed the people he loved would live. This is the story of how they both figured that out. Everyone who knew Daniel said the same thing. He's one of the kindest men you'll ever meet. He remembered everything: Emma's coffee order, the anniversary of her father's death, songs he'd mentioned once, months earlier. Most people assumed he'd been raised well. The truth was closer to the opposite. Daniel never knew his father, who died in a car accident a month before Daniel was born. His mother was buried in her own grief, present in the house, absent everywhere it counted. Most of his early childhood belonged to his grandparents, who became his whole sense of safe. Then, when Daniel was 5, his mother remarried. He thought it meant they'd finally be a family. Instead, she left him with his grandparents and started a new life. He never forgot watching her car pull out of the driveway. Decades later, he told Emma something that stayed with her. "I kept waving. I thought if she saw me, she'd turn around. She never did." Children don't think my parent is struggling. They think, why didn't they choose me? That's usually where an abandonment wound begins. Not with understanding, but with self-blame. A child is too young to know he's caring. 2 years later, 7-year-old Daniel won first prize in a school art competition, a dragon, badly proportioned and fiercely colored. He ran the whole way home holding the certificate. "Mom! Mom! Look! I won!" She glanced up. "That's nice." Then she went back to whatever she'd been doing. No hug, no smile, no "I'm proud of you." Daniel stood there, still holding the drawing. For a moment he waited. Maybe she'd ask to see it. Maybe this time would be different. She never looked up. It wasn't the first time. He had spent years trying to earn her attention, bringing home good grades, helping around the house, winning competitions. Each time, he hoped this would be the moment she finally saw him. Each time, he was disappointed. Little by little, Daniel stopped asking, "What do I have to do to make my mother proud?" Instead, he started asking the question, "What's wrong with me?" By 18, Daniel had lost his grandparents too, so he built himself into someone else instead. Responsible, capable, the man everyone could lean on. But underneath the version the world saw was a boy still asking the question he'd been asking since he was 5. Will this person leave me too? That question followed him into adulthood. Eventually, it followed him into his marriage. At first, Daniel's fear wore the mask of devotion, and almost no one could tell the difference. If Emma worked late, he'd text to make sure she was okay. If she looked upset, he noticed before she said a word. It felt like being cherished. But slowly the shape of it changed. If she didn't reply within half an hour, he didn't think she's busy. He thought she's pulling away. Small disagreement ballooned. Emma thought they were talking about dishes. Daniel thought they were talking about the future of the marriage. He wasn't reacting to what was happening. He was reacting to what he feared it meant. A late text became rejection. A cancelled plan became abandonment. Emma tried reassurance. My phone was on silent. I was in a meeting, and he always believed her for a while. But reassurance can quiet a fear for a moment. It can't heal what's underneath it. Without quiet noticing, she started rearranging her own life to keep him calm. Answering instantly, avoiding last-minute plans, calling ahead if she'd be late. One evening, she realized she hadn't made a single decision based on what she wanted. She became responsible for emotions that were never hers to control. And the harder she tried, the less safe she seemed to feel. The turning point came over something small. I'm thinking of spending Saturday with my sister, Emma said one Thursday. Daniel looked up. You'd rather be with her? Emma replied, I just haven't seen her in weeks. A long silence. Then quietly, it feels like you're getting tired of me, Daniel said. Emma became furious and said, Daniel, this is not true. Then Daniel said, I know, you didn't say it, but that's how it starts. They talked in circles for 2 hours. That night, Emma packed a small bag, not to end things, just to breathe somewhere quiet. Daniel saw it and went still. Please, please don't go. She took his hands. I love you, but I can't keep living like this. I'm trying, Daniel said. I know, but your fear has become the center of our relationship, Emma replied. She left, Her phone rang within minutes, again and again. When she answered, he was crying. "I know you're not my mom. I know you're not leaving me. But when you're gone, it feels exactly the same." For the first time, it made sense to her. Daniel wasn't trying to control her. He was trying to outrun a feeling he'd carried since he was a boy. Love wasn't going to fix this. Neither was reassurance. A way to feel safe that didn't depend on someone else's constant presence. The next morning he called. "I think I need help." For the first time, he wasn't asking Emma to make the fear stop. He was ready to understand it. A week later, Daniel sat across from Dr. Whitfield, visibly uncomfortable, like the chair belonged to someone else. "What brings you here?" Doctor asked. "My wife thinks I have abandonment issues," he replied. "What do you think?" the doctor asked. "I think she's right." He described what happened when Emma didn't answer a text. The tight chest, the racing heart, the certainty, despite knowing better, that she was leaving. Dr. Whitfield was quiet a moment. "When that happens, how old do you feel? Not how old are you? How old the fear feels." He stared at his hands and answered 7. She nodded, unsurprised. "That fear isn't coming from your marriage. It's coming from a 7-year-old who never understood why his mother's car kept driving." His eyes filled. The doctor said, "You've been asking Emma to comfort that boy. She can love you, but she can't heal him for you. When we go through painful things as children, our brains doesn't file them away as memories. Then what do they file them as?" Daniel asked. The doctor said, "Warnings." He turned that over. "So, when I panic over a text, what's actually happening?" The doctor explained. "An alarm's going off. That she's leaving again. And your body believes the alarm before your mind gets a vote. Latex isn't the problem. It's what your nervous system learned to connect it to. But an alarm isn't the enemy. It's a signal, and signals can be recalibrated." Therapy gave him tools he could hold onto. The first tool was, whenever panic grows, stop saying Emma is leaving me and instead say, I'm afraid Emma is leaving me. A reminder that a feeling is not automatically a fact. And the second tool was 3 questions to run through when fear surged. What am I afraid will happen? What evidence do I actually have? Is there another explanation? At first, it felt useless. Fear always answered first. Slowly, it stopped running the slow. Emma was learning too. In one joint session, Dr. Whitfield turned to her. "You've been carrying a weight that was never yours to carry, trying to keep Daniel safe every minute of every day. I thought that's what love meant," Emma said. "It isn't. Support isn't rescue," Doctor answered. "If you take responsibility for his emotions, you both lose, him most of all, because he never gets to prove to himself he can survive the fear." Emma stopped checking her phone every 10 minutes. She stopped apologizing for having a life outside the marriage. She started saying something new and meaning it. "I love you. I'll be back tomorrow, and I know you can handle this." Daniel hated hearing it at first, not because it wasn't true, but because it meant facing the fear instead of being rescued from it. But each time he got through a moment intact, something in him grew sturdier. For the first time, safety was starting to come from inside. 6 months later, Emma packed a bag for another weekend with her sister. This time felt different before she'd even left. Daniel zipped her suitcase. "You'll have a good time," he said, and meant it. "No anxious questions, just drive safe." Emma waited for her phone to ring on the drive. It didn't. Hours later, one message. "Hope you're having a great time. Love you." What she didn't learn until the next day was that Saturday night hadn't been quiet for Daniel at all. Around 1 a.m., he woke from a half-dream, heart already pounding. The old thought fully formed. What if she's not coming back this time? He picked up his phone and started typing. "Are you okay? Can you call me?" Thumb hovering over send. Then he stopped. Sat in the dark, holding the phone, feeling ridiculous and terrified at once. He deleted the message, put the phone face down, and stood by the window instead. Because Dr. Whitfield once told him, fear just needs somewhere to go besides another person. He didn't fall back asleep for another hour, but he didn't send the text either. When he called Emma on Sunday, he didn't say anything for a second, not because it was nothing, but because it was everything. For the first time, he'd known what to do when the fear showed up uninvited. And he'd done it alone. "I almost called you," Daniel said. Emma asked, "Why didn't you?" Daniel explained, "I remember the fear is real. The story is not always true. So I stood by the window, breathed for a while, reminded myself you've always come back before. And then it passed. Not fast, but it passed." When Emma got home Monday, he hugged her at the door. Not like someone who'd survived a test, but someone who'd actually lived through the weekend instead of just waiting through it. From the outside, it looked like nothing much. But Daniel had stopped asking someone else to rescue the boy inside him. He'd started becoming the safe adult that boy had needed all along. His childhood hadn't changed. What he did with it had. If you see yourself in Daniel, fear on abandonment doesn't mean you're broken. It usually means that somewhere in the past, love felt uncertain or was taken away before you were ready to lose it. Your feelings were ignored or weren't accepted by your parents or caregivers. Your mind moved on, but your nervous system kept trying to protect you anyway. All patterns aren't the same as permanent ones. With awareness, honest relationships, and sometimes a good therapist, those alarms can get quieter, not because the past disappears, but because you stop mistaking it for the present. And if you're raising a child right now, they don't need perfect parents. They need parents who make them feel seen, looking up when they say watch this, setting the phone down while they talk, meaning it when you say the drawing is good. Those moments teach a child, you matter, I'm here, you're not alone. Each child carries two quiet questions underneath everything else. Am I worthy of love? Will the people I love stay? The answers start in childhood. They don't have to end there. Healing begins the moment you stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking instead, "What happened to me?" And if you enjoy these kinds of videos and want to learn more about yourself and others, join us on this journey.